Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to interview Holly. So Holly, welcome.
Hi,
Holly, can you tell us your full type, please?
I can. I'm an ESFP jumper, a visual, play, consume, blast, sleep.
And when you got your typing results back, what did you think and how did you feel?
Um, I never submitted like an official guess, but I thought that I was probably some kind of ESFP. Um, so that part wasn't really a huge surprise. I wasn't sure if I didn't know about DE and DI. I wasn't sure. And I had my modalities off. I thought I was double feminine, blast last. So it was the masculine TE and the sleep last and infodom that was like the biggest surprise.
So that's the type that David Chan gave you?
The type that Dave and Shan gave me, yeah, I have the masculine TE, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And then now that you have your type, what did you like? How did you feel about it?
Um, well, I just was like, I just have to do some reflecting. So I had to really think hard about like, how am I doing masculine TE? That was the one that like freaked me out the most. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I just thought that it was for sure feminine. You know, I saw TE for sure. So I've just been kind of like thinking and pondering and trying to see how I'm like, I have that little bit of a punch with that. And I can see it. I definitely use it. I'm not working right now, but when I was working, I was in special education administration. So, I mean, there definitely needs to be like a push with the TE there. And so I feel like I can see how I can bring that out. In my daily life, my husband probably sees, like that pushier part more than what I think like a casual acquaintance would maybe see. But yeah, I can I can use that. I can see how they got to that.
I think the visuals are not as aggressive as the double masculines when it comes to like the TE. So
Yeah, yeah. And in comparison, like I've created my own little world of people that I fit in with. And when working with like other administrators, I am not as I just don't have that same, like I have the lower blast. I'm just not as punchy. So like in comparison to people that I worked with, it was harder for me to push than it was some people that I'm used to being around. So I saw myself as like um, probably softer than what I am in the general population, just kind of in comparison to that peer group.
let's talk about your animals. Let's start with your play. Your play is double activated ST play. So it's like doing. And because it's play, it's doing things with people. So collaborations, doing work with people. Can you talk about that a little bit and how you personally experienced that double activated ST play?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just running around, kind of all the time. Just, I mean, the way that I think about it now, I mean, I can really see it. Like, before I had kids and stuff, I would just like, do anything for anybody at any time, whenever. Like, it's just kind of like jump and go, jump and go. Like favors or, helping out with, ST stuff. Like, do you need, can you take care of my kid? Can you help me with this project? Like, yes, 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 all the time.
How did you feel when you were saying yes to all these things? Like, did you like it, or did you feel like it was just kind of like you felt obligated to do it?
So when I was younger, I really just didn't think about it. Like it was just that's just what I did. As I got older and I had a family of my own and a job, and then I still was doing it, I got really annoyed. Like I just started, I was like, I have to do something different. So there was like a very clear shift in like when I kind of realized I need to put up boundaries better. So
Gotcha.
the annoyance came later, but it definitely came.
I guess when you're younger, you don't have as much to do either. So you're like, hey, whatever, let's help people, whatever. It's not a big deal, you know?
Yeah, just stay
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah. I guess if you're like also retired and you're like, oh, I'm not working, so whatever, sure, I'll help people. It doesn't matter, you know?
Hmm.
Um, okay. Your second animal is consume. It's SF and it's double feminine. Double feminine SF consume. How do you personally experience that?
Gosh, I haven't sat with this one for very long. I thought that my consume was like I thought there was going to be something weird with my consume, but I think maybe that's the infodom thing that I'm seeing. But yeah, I mean, I like to consume. I mean, like as far as like physical things, like I like to consume things that would like make things pretty. I mean, like really just like basic, like I like makeup and hair and clothes. I like to like decorate my house. Like pretty feminine consume as far as like physical things. Like with learning and stuff, I like more like psychology, um, stuff like that.
You know what? That's a good thing that you just brought up. Like it's very feminine because it's double feminine, right? So double feminine SF consume, that means how you perceive yourself too, because it's an external self-awareness also. So
Mhm.
from like an outside perspective, I guess you'd like to see yourself as like as feminine as possible. Is that true? Would you say that's true?
Yeah, this is why I thought I was like, blast last, feminine TE. That's definitely how I see myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you did see yourself as feminine because you have double feminine consume, right? So you saw yourself as like double feminine. It makes
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm.
Um, but let's go to your third animal, blast. It's double masculine, NITE, NT blast. So you're actually super balanced with the information stuff because your consume is double feminine, but it's savior. And then your blast is double masculine, but it's demon. So it's like almost like 50-50 almost. Um, can you
Cool.
talk about your double masculine NT blast a little bit, like the figuring out aspect of things, like teaching people how to figure things out, so giving people solutions and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, again, like going back to work, I mean, just a ton of problem solving. So I was a school psychologist. Um, I mean, it's just like constant. That's just like an NT world. So it's constantly putting the pieces together to help figure something out. So that's super easy for me to see. I mean, it's pretty blasty because it's like a leadership role. So it's sharing out that information. Yeah, in regular life, I mean, like I can I can be kind of annoying. Like if I'm learning something new, like OP or something, I'll like want to like when somebody's in front of me, I'll want to like tell them the pieces and then like, I want to like share with them and
Right,
try to see if they can see it the way that I see it and help them, maybe they'll latch on to something and they'll figure something out.
right. And
I'm that
because it's
person.
double masculine, do you feel like super confident when you're explaining things to people, like what you figured out and stuff?
Um, Not necessarily, not I don't really feel super confident in it unless I am like really pre-prepared. Um, so like I don't know that I come off as super confident if I was just talking to someone and I'm just like kind of going. I don't it might be the feminine SE. I'm forgetful and I
Yeah,
know that I'm forgetful. And then infodom, I like never have enough information.
yeah,
So I don't really ever feel super confident when I'm sharing my blast unless I've really prepared. So at work, I think I could come off as pretty confident because that was stuff that was like I put a lot of time and effort into preparing, but just like going back and forth in regular life, not really. No.
yeah. No, that what you said makes perfect sense. It's like you're info dominant, so you never feel like you have enough to provide to people. And like I guess when you're presenting, you start second guessing yourself, like, do I have enough, things to back this up? So
Hmm.
so yeah,
And
I
I'm
get that.
forgetful. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
dumb.
yeah, because then that
It's kind of
evidence,
a doozy.
yeah, that's annoying.
Very,
It's like
very.
I work so hard to research and now it's all gone.
Yes, it's all gone. It's terrible. So I have to write everything down. So yeah, I'm only really good at it if I'm prepped.
Yeah. Um, okay. You're also tribe above self. So I guess you don't have the self-confidence like the self above tribes do, you know. Uh
Mm-mm.
it doesn't mean you're not competent, it just means that the self-confidence is not as strong as those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Can we talk about self-confidence a little bit? Like how do you feel about your self-confidence and versus self-esteem?
Self-confidence versus self-esteem. I mean, I would not say that I'm an overly it's so hard to not compare like to like the general, it's like the general population or people that I know. I feel like I have decent self-confidence. That's probably come a little bit more with age. The more that I can put up boundaries and take time for myself, the more confident I am. I feel like I have a strong inner sense of um, like I kind of am somebody like I'm flitting around all the time because I'm sleep blast. So I'll like make a lot of mistakes, but I don't go super hard on myself for that. But I have like a really I don't know. I can be really hard on myself, but I don't know if that's like a lack of self-confidence. It's more like a push to like have to like work really hard.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a weird relationship with self-confidence, I think.
Well, since we're on this topic, let's talk about your sleep, since you brought it up already. Your sleep lasts and your sleep is NF. So it's purpose and meaning, and it comes from within. Um, I want to hear your experience with that before we go elaborate with some other stuff. So what
Yeah.
has been your experience?
Um well, I'm not I haven't been doing it enough. So I think that so a few years ago I quit my job and I think I super fell in love with sleep. So I was just like, "Oh my gosh, what is this thing? It feels like it's going to like save me from everything." So yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just a lot of like, talk in my head. Just kind of like, I'm just like fantasizing in my head all day long. And when it comes on or when I get into that mode, it's really strong. So I get kind of like a space cadet vibe. Like it's like anybody home because I'm just like off, I probably demon state. I think so. I think mine is audio and it's triggered by music too, which is kind of interesting. So if I'm like listening to music or whatever, I'll just be like off.
Got it. Um, do you have any code or mantra that you personally adhere to with that NF sleep? A lot of people that has NF sleep, they seem to have like a code that they follow. I can give you some examples if you want, but do you have any personally?
Well, I've recently stole a version of Jocko's. I'm kind of I'm
Okay.
close to his type.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I'm like a little Jocko. Great. Um, but he says discipline equals freedom. And I feel like for me, it's like routine. Routine equals freedom. If I can force myself to stay on routine. And then I just like fluffy stuff. Like I love like beauty for the sake of beauty. Because I just am like, I don't know, visual SE is like that's what I'm paying attention to all of the time. And that can feel like a weird, fluffy skill set, but I think it's important. There's a place for that. So I try to remind myself like that's okay.
With your NF sleep, is there anything meaningful in life that you latch onto, like you want to get behind, as like an
Like
important cause,
activism kind of thing.
something like that? Yeah, because a lot of people that is like ESFPs, regardless of self or self-above tribe or tribe of self, they seem to have that thing where like later on in life, or depending on where they have it in their animal stack, obviously, they have something that they latch onto, and they're really big into being an advocate for that. So is there something
Mhm.
that you personally believe in?
Yeah, well, I do. I have gotten really into like generational trauma. I like working as a school psychologist. Mental health supports has always been like a huge thing for me. So, pretty big advocate for that. Just getting out better resources and supports for people, especially people that live in like poverty. I live in an area where there's just like not a lot of resources at all. It's pretty rural. So, yeah, a lot of work and pull towards stuff like that. I tend to gravitate towards I don't know, kind of like intense emotional work. I've done a lot of work with like grieving mothers, stuff like that. Hmm.
When you're doing those kind of work and it's getting really intense emotionally, do you feel like your feminine introvert feeling is well equipped for that, because you tend to forget the feeling and emotion? It's not something you latch onto, so it's
Hmm.
like it's not something that
Hmm.
you bring home with you and you kind of poison the family with it.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it's perfect for that kind of work because I think I'm constantly looking to get moved, but it doesn't really. So I'm moved in the moment, and I'm right there with somebody, but I don't bring it home. No,
Yeah.
it's gone. That's interesting. I didn't really know that about feminine FI. Cool that you say that. Yeah, it works great for that.
That's really good in my opinion, because then you're dealing with a lot of heavy stuff, right? So
Hmm.
being able to let go of it is, I think it's
Hmm.
it's like it's a blessing. So I think your feminine FI could maybe even come across as FE, because it's like it's so movable.
I think it does. Yeah. I really was like, when I first got into OP, I was like, well, I'm probably FE. But I know that I don't know how other people are feeling. Like I know FE people, and I'm just like, I don't exactly get that.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, that is tricky. I think people thought she was an ENFJ at first, because like
Mhm.
her feelings like, whoa, so movable, but it's like, no, it's feminine FI. It's,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. I want to ask you more about your visual. So your visual and tester. Let's talk about the visual side first. Um, can you just share a little bit how your visual memory works, like how that works for you and how you experience it?
Yeah. I had done like hardly any like reading or consuming on visual. So I'm just kind of getting caught up to speed because I just was like, oh, there's nobody that's really visual. So that probably isn't me. So I just like used my TE to just check that off the list as
Yeah.
something I didn't have to look into.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm really forgetful. So I don't have an excellent visual memory unless there's like kind of emotions attached to something. So like if something happened in childhood, like I have this one really clear memory of my grandma losing her temper and like running around like a crazy person, and it was really out of character and really funny, and I could like it kind of if I close my eyes it will come to me like a movie while I tell you, and I'll remember like how the grass was dead from the hose, like just very detailed, specific visual memory but it's usually like emotionally charged events. It's not just anything.
Got it. Okay, that's cool. So it's cool that like the emotion has to be there for you to
It
remember also.
seems like it. Yeah.
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 Um, what about being a tester? So tester is like with smell, so smell and taste. Do you have a strong sense of smell and do you feel like the need to like try out different foods and stuff and different
Yeah.
smells?
Yeah, I mean, I was always like an adventurous eater and stuff as a kid. Like I was always like the little kid that was like, "Oh, I'll have the sardines and the oysters and like all the weird food."
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've always been like that. Like smells, I mean, I always like I'm picky about like what laundry soap I'll use. Like it has to smell right and stuff like that.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Um, I want to ask you more about being a double decider. So you are
Mhm.
a double decider. You're balanced with self and tribe. Can you talk about a little bit about like that superpower of like being able to like even if even like earlier in the interview you were saying that as you got older, setting boundaries and not doing things for other people was something that you had to learn to do, right? Um, but at the same time, you're still able to see your perspective and
Mhm.
other people's perspective. So it's always like that game of like balance, right? So can you talk about that a little bit and how you've kind of like double decided your way, through adulthood?
Yeah, I mean, I do think I've double decided my way through life. Yeah, I think it's just yeah, if something comes to me or a person comes to me and they like I don't know, say something ridiculous, I can just instantly like I might catch it, but I can instantly be like, I can put myself in their shoes just like very quickly. Sometimes I wasn't sure if I was a double decider, and it might have come with age. But I have that demon in eye, and sometimes like I won't know, I'll catch it and I'll be able to double decide in the moment, but then I'll have to like go home later and process like, well, why? Like, why did they say that? So I can double decide in the moment, but sometimes I'll have to like process later. So I don't know if that's common for double deciders. And then I'll still double decide after my process later,
Yeah.
but I do have to do that,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll ask you about your NI shortly.
Okay.
After we finish the double deciding stuff, we'll go to
Okay. Yeah.
NI
Yeah.
because that's like the big one for you guys, the ESFPs. So that's why I want to save it for last. 'Cause that's
You
like
know what? It's a fun one.
that's a fun one. Yeah. Um. Okay. So the first thing with double deciding is are you able to distinguish like who is the bad guy in the story? Like, are you like because you're still DE, right? So you have a tendency to like blame others, but can you like pause after you blame someone? You're like, wait a minute, maybe I'm the bad guy. Like, have you ever gotten a chance to do that personally?
Yes, yes, I can definitely do that. I mean, and especially, I mean, there's so much conflict at work because it's just like it's problems, 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 and it's people, it's all people problems. I mean, it's constant people. So I had to do a lot of double deciding, and I mean, that was just nonstop. Like I had to be like I had to see myself as a bad guy. I have to be able to like I have to be able to see that. Otherwise, I would have been not good at my job, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I can do that. I usually know instantly when I'm the jerk and like I'll apologize instantly if someone calls me out like, "Ah, you shouldn't have said that." I'm like, "Ah, yeah, I'm so sorry," you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I can relate to what you said. So yeah, I've done it before where like I was the jerk and went back there
Mhm.
like, oh my god, I'm the asshole. Like let's go apologize.
Sometimes it's that masculine TE. It's like I'm just trying to rip off the Band-Aid, you know?
Yeah. All right, let's go to the fun part. NI, masculine NI though, in your case, so you can see it. That's a cool part, I think, with the NI, is I do notice
Mhm.
that people would that have it, even though it's fourth, if it's masculine, you can see it. Um, share with me your experience with it, and then I'll throw in some questions in regards to that. But I want to hear your personal experience with the masculine NI first.
Yeah, it's I know what's gonna happen. I see everything and I know what's gonna happen here. And then I'm stuck on it because this is the thing, this is where this is going. And it's usually bad. It's usually like something bad is gonna happen. And then if people will throw out other options my way, it will take me a long time to move. So I will move. I will be able to take in um other options, other NIs, but it takes a lot of energy because I have to go back to gathering all the SC and go through everything else to get it. So I don't want to do that because it's a lot of work. I can't just take in another option, if that makes sense, quickly.
Um, I do want to ask you about you personally, about your NI, the
Oh,
NIFI
you want to
specifically.
do
So
you
so
want to know like my weirdo NI stuff? Like how
um,
I'm weird about it? Like phobias?
sure, we can start with
Oh,
that, and then I have a follow-up question. So go ahead. Yeah, talk about that. Yeah, go
sure.
ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I have the like I knew I was an EP because I was like, oh, I'm for sure that because I have very clear like scared of the dark, like actual like and that's something no one in real life like will they don't believe that that's your actual problem. So like actually scared of the dark, actually a mess if my husband has to leave and I have to sleep alone. Oh, it's terrible. It's the worst. I can't sleep. I'm a mess. And then I have a lot, like I love to travel so much. So I could like listen to you talk about travel all day. Um, but I have a lot of travel anxiety about just planes exploding midair, that kind of stuff. It sucks. I hate it. I hate it so bad. Um, but yeah, I make myself do it. I don't think I've ever like, which maybe this is the masculine part of it. I've never not gotten on the plane or I've never not, thank God. Because I do think it helps to just keep doing it,
Yeah.
but I'm terrified the whole time. Like it sucks.
Well, at least you're not an IJ who'll get terrified, but they won't do anything about it. Because for you, you're like, I know it's fake. I'm gonna do it anyways.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes. I do know it's fake.
yeah,
Thank God.
yeah. It's fake, but it doesn't change the fact that you feel scared still. So it's
Right.
like,
No, I usually just make a big dork of myself over it. Like,
uh,
it's just a joke, but it's a joke, but it's also like
you're
very
also
real.
scared inside.
Yes.
That's so good.
The
Um, I,
plane is going to explode.
Yeah, I honestly think masculine NI is the craziest of all the 8 functions. It is like it's so crazy.
It's so bad. Yeah,
So
like panic
crazy.
attacks. It's just bad. Yes.
'Cause I have NE, right? So for
Mhm.
me, like with the problem with NI, in my opinion, is like you can only see one path and you're so sure that that's what's gonna happen.
Absolutely sure.
And then like with NE, I'm like, dude, there's like so many different paths. Like seriously, that that's not the worst one, you know. And but always
Yep.
I can't like convince you guys that you know you have FI, right? So you're like, no, but it feels so real, you know. So
It,
it's like,
that's the thing.
yeah,
I know. It's like God speaking inside of you. It's so real. It's just
yeah,
ridiculous. I have done a lot of work with that actually, accidentally, not knowing what it was.
yeah.
I've somehow or another lucked out and gotten my hands on some like good reading and stuff that's helped me through it. But ooh, it's a doozy.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't want to have masculine NI. That is
Mm-mm.
that is that's
It's so stupid.
that's a scary function to have. Um, let's let's talk about more NI stuff. You have NIFI, and because you're C plus, do you have trouble with figuring out what your recurring life pattern is and like doing something about it? Because like
Yep.
you know, it's like I'm like you already made this mistake before, more than once actually. Haven't
Mhm.
you learned your lesson yet? Like, can you talk about that a little bit? You know?
Yep. And this is where I was like, well, am I a decider? Because it's people problem. So what ends up happening is I double decide to the hills, and they'll end up with people in my life for way too long that just like, not necessarily that they're bad, but just like not a good fit. So then I'm like annoyed that I have this person that I now have to like, I'm obligated to play.
Yeah.
So it's just, and it's, and I'll like complain about this person for 10 years and my husband will be like, enough already. And so I make, or yeah, I make the same mistakes all the time so often. Like another one was, I was like, oh, we should have a huge birthday party here for the kids. And my husband's like, you're going to be so stressed out. Let's just have it somewhere else. And why do we always have to go through this? I'm learning. I'm like, I just need to listen to him sometimes with some of this. Like, you're right. Let's not.
Yeah, sometimes your partner knows you better, so
They
you
do.
just listen.
And he's like, and it's going to be too much work for me because you're going to put it all on me. I'm
Yeah.
like, you're right.
Um. Okay. Yeah. That's a funny one with like the
Mhm.
reoccurring
Yeah.
life pattern
Hmm.
situation. There was something I wanted to ask you about the life pattern, but it just flew out of my head. Oh yeah, I remember now. So so you and me will have a similar problem with people because our first animal is a decider animal, which is play, and our fourth animal is also a decider, which is sleep, right? You know,
Oh, yeah.
so every animal is correlated with like a specific archetype. So like plays EJ, right? And then
Hmm.
consume is EP, and then blast is IJ, and so sleep is IP. So you're gonna have like issues with like yourself, I guess, like you being like the hero of the story, you being like the center
Hmm.
of attention, you know, you being like the main character, I guess, the protagonist. Um, so it makes sense that you have like a lot of decider problems,
Hmm.
even though you're like a double decider because of like the sleep last.
It's like their secret decider problems because they don't ever seep out to the tribe. You know what I mean? So like I don't actually ever have, I mean, everyone has some problems, whatever, but it's like I've never like lost a relationship or anything like that, like because I can just double decide, but I have to do all this processing, like I said, like on the back end. Yeah. So I was like, well, I for sure have people problems because I'm complaining about people all the time.
Well, what you said earlier was like, you know, you're like you had this person in your life for like way too long when you should have
Mhm.
like just cut it.
Yeah.
Because they're like annoying and they don't bring any value, right? So like why did you even put up with this person, you know? Or sometimes it's just a personality clash. Maybe they're not a bad person, but you guys just don't mix, right?
For
Um,
sure.
so um I relate to that because I also done the same thing, also with like
Mm.
play and sleep, like that access. That's we seem to do that, but like
Interesting.
that weird thing is like, why do I put up with this person, you know? So
Yeah.
um like so for me personally, I have like a system now that I
Tell
follow.
me.
Yeah, sure. So what I do is like, okay, I have people that I really like, you know.
Mhm.
So and if they're not toxic, then I hang out with them frequently.
Mhm.
But if I like them a lot, but they're toxic, then I cut it down because I know I will feel bad if I spend too much time with them, even if I really
Sure.
like them.
Mhm.
So maybe it'll be like once a month as opposed to
Mhm.
like, once a week or something, you know. But if they're displaying like good behavior, non-toxic behavior, then I'll like spend time with them. But when they're acting up, being like crazy and stuff, then I'll lower it, like maybe like once every 3 months or something, So I just like upgrade and downgrade people like over and over again. Uh,
That's really funny.
yeah, and then
Ever
that's
end up with people you just don't even like? Because that's happened to me before. It's like, I don't even like this person and I won't realize it. Like, we don't have anything in common. What am I doing here?
I think for me, like when I was younger, my friends would get us to hang out with people that I don't like. I'm like, why are we hang
Mhm.
out with this douchebag, right? That's how I was thinking, right? But like the weird thing is like when I get to know those douchebag, I like them, and it's like and like it's like a weird flip because like that douchebag ends up hating my friend who introduced me to that person, and now I'm like, what the hell? Like now they hate each other, and I'm friends with a douchebag who's now my friend. I actually like this person a lot. Like I just need to get to know them. Outside that obnoxious external layer, there was like someone like that person that I actually like. So
I can almost always find something I like in anybody. So that's part of that's part of it too. It's like I will rarely run into somebody that I just don't like at all.
yeah,
I'll find something,
I
but
think for me, I just look at it as like if I'm talking to this person, I feel drained. I'm not gonna hang out with this person.
that's a good one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like though, yeah, that's like that. I think that's the biggest one. It's like if you
Hmm.
just feel like dead after spending time with this person,
Hmm.
like no, no, just no. Um,
That's a good way to look at that. I like that. I'll keep that.
and then like I have friends that are like play last, so they're like, no offense to play last people, but some of them can be quite like boring because they don't
Mhm.
ping and they only talk about serious stuff all the time. So it's like, so for me, some of my play last friends, I just hang with them once a year, just to
Sure.
like, because they're still my friend. So
Yeah.
I don't I want to keep that connection, but
Yeah.
I don't want to hang with too much because they're boring. So once
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah. And they're probably like real drained by us too, by like, "Moo, moo."
No, that's not true. So
No?
so my play last friends like, yeah, you should like, because like they're play last, so they don't like reach
Oh,
out.
it's just they need you to do it.
So yeah, they're like, yeah, just like if you want to hang out, just hit me up. I'm like, I will. And I'm in my head, I'm like, next year, like, because you're boring.
Because you're boring.
Like I didn't say that. I didn't say it to them. I just said it in my head. Like just
Yeah,
next
you keep that in your head. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, next year because you're boring. Sounds
But you
bad.
can just do that instantly and then you don't have to process that. Because I'll feel obligated to be like, oh, why do I think they're boring? I should not think they're boring. And then I'll have to like push through that. I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, I don't feel like obligated to change the way I feel about someone.
Ah,
Maybe that's your feminine FI. That's your feminine FI.
maybe.
Yeah, because mine's masculine, right? So I can like
Sure.
conclude. I can like with confidence be like, nope, I think this person's boring. You
I
know.
want to switch out feminine FI for masculine FI really badly.
Yeah, but you have a superpower with your feminine FI. Like like I said, when you have those heavy talks with your,
Yeah.
your clients and whatnot, you
Yeah.
don't carry it with you, but I carry it, so it's horrible.
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah.
cared for years, so it's not good. So
Sure.
it's like a double-edged sword with feminine
That's
masculine FI.
true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll take what I can get, I guess. Right.
yeah. No, that's a
Yeah.
good thing. You have something good, so it's not a bad thing.
Funny.
Um, all right. I have a few more questions for you, Holly, and then we will wrap up the interview. Okay.
Sounds good.
And then if you have any questions for me too, just feel free to just
Okay.
ask as well. So let's see, what haven't we covered yet? We covered NI, TE. Um, what about feminine SE? So that one we haven't covered yet. What's going on with feminine SE? That's a weird one. Like, what's going on with you? Because like the way David Chan described it is like you're not scared of sensory, like let's say like there's fast cars. Like,
Mhm.
do you relate to that or no? Are you scared of like
Well, Demon and I am afraid of fast cars. But that's probably more Demon and I. But I'm not afraid of like I will be the person that's like teetering on the top of a tall ladder. That stuff I'm not afraid of at all. Or I do like water sports, stuff like that. Like, no, I'm not. I did not know that that was a feminine SE thing, but I can relate to that. Yeah, not super scared of the sensory. Um, as far as that goes. I'll get a lot of feedback from people. Like if I'm doing something, they'll be like, be careful. It kind of can look careless.
so you're not scared of heights and any of that stuff?
With age, I've gotten a little bit more afraid of like real, like, like rides that go like big, like state fair kind of rides that go really high. I can't do those anymore, but I never used to be. Yeah.
So when you were young, you went like all in like those kind of stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see now.
Mhm.
And then when it comes to the gathering with the SE, like with feminine SE, what's going on with the gathering? So let's talk about physical gathering and then
Sure.
information gathering.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely more of an information gatherer, but physical gathering, I think it's this one is weird for me because yeah, I don't have gather piles. So that one tripped me up a little bit. Like I'm a pretty like I love clothes, but my closet is like tiny. Like I am not a hoarder at all. Like I would say opposite. But I think part of that might be my like the FI and the visual. I'm super picky, like really, really picky about what I will like purchase and buy and keep in my life. So, I mean, but my consume would all be like, as far as physical consume, it's like if I'm shopping for things for my house, furniture, uh, clothes, makeup. That's really it. But I
Gotcha.
don't overgather.
Maybe the people that overgather are the double masculine SF consume, like those people. They
Yeah,
they
maybe.
cannot could stop. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I think my husband might be that. He's the hoarder. He's the gatherer in our house, not me. Yeah,
Okay.
he's
Uh,
bad.
maybe that's like an SI thing too. Hoarding is like an SI thing, I think. Maybe
Well,
I'm wrong. I could be
I
wrong.
think he's maybe. I think he's probably like an IP, like a TISE. So he's all
Oh,
self above tribe, and you know, work. He likes to work on cars and stuff. So it's that kind of stuff.
gotcha. I think yeah, okay. 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 And then last question for you is what would you like to work on with yourself, knowing that now that you know your type, knowing that sleep loss is your biggest problem? Like what kind of stuff that would you like to work on yourself to like, make yourself grow and upgrade
Mhm.
yourself as a better person?
Yeah, it definitely. That's like working on sleep lessening play, which feels just I've accidentally been working on that the last few years. Again, not knowing that that's what it was, but have done some other work that kind of guided me in that way anyway. But what I've been trying to do is like really saying no to things that I don't need to be doing, and prioritizing, having better boundaries, and then taking the time to do the sleep processing, which is it's super hard for me. Like my brain is just goes a million mile a minute. So if the only way for me to really sleep process is to either like write things down, because if I just keep it in my head, it just spins. I don't know if you relate to that, but I have to write things down, or even like one of the things with OP that really helped me was doing the video submission, like hearing myself talk and listening to it back. Um, that's helped. And implementing routines, because I just want to buck those so bad. I hate them.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. All right, Holly. So thanks for coming out and doing this interview and sharing more about yourself and whatnot. So we'll wrap up the interview here now and
All right.
take care and enjoy the rest of your
Yeah.
day.
Bye, Kendrick.
See you.